Hi guys, Mrs. Novello here in the Expressive Arts Room, and today we're going to talk to you about creating your paper foundation for your quilled dragon. So we have already created our indentation and we've pinned our base, and now we're going to use cardstock in strips of 1/2 inch to create our paper foundation that will support the quill designs. Before we get started, I want you to make sure that you cut the color of cardstock that you want for your outline. So think of your pencil indentation as your outline. You're basically going to be manipulating the paper around the pins to create a dimensional paper outline. So I have black for the majority of my dragon, and then I also have some strips of white that I'm going to use to outline details like teeth, eyes, and the horns. So when you are ready to get started, the materials you'll need are a tray, like a plate of glue. You will need strips of 1/2 inch cardstock. I also have a stylus. This is going to help me kind of manipulate things. And then I'm ready to get started. Before we get going, I want to give you a visual for what this is going to look like. I got this image from viralnova.com. This is a quilled dragon. This is a color scheme that I'm going for, kind of a monochromatic blue. And if you can see all of the different quilled shapes that fill the foundation, that will be our next step. But first we've got to get started. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to make sure that I get my smaller details outlined first. My eyes, my horns, and my teeth. So you'll should also have a pair of scissors handy so that you can cut your paper into smaller sizes. For my teeth that I've pinned, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my paper, pinch it to give it that angle, and then I'm going to dip it in the glue, and then I will put it around the pins to create that shape. For the excess paper, so that it stays, I can fold it around the pin to kind of secure it in place. And if I need to trim it, let me get that stylus to kind of point this down. If I need to trim it, then I can get my scissors and trim that excess. But for right now, I just want to make sure that I get my paper placed, get it pushed down so that the glue is flush with the surface. So I'm going to be doing that with my teeth, cutting small pieces of paper of the 1/2 inch strips that I've cut, dip them in glue, pinch them into the shape that you want them, and then put them up against the pins. And you'll do that first. You'll do that first because it'll be very hard to go around and do those small details after you do your large areas like the general outline, but I'm going to demonstrate how to do both. Alright, so I am just about done with my teeth, and I can kind of detail those later. Alright, so now for our big foundation, I'm going to take my black strip. This can be long, and wherever I left off here, I'm simply going to place my cardstock strip. And I'm going to do kind of a weaving process, going in and out of my pins. And this is why gluing our pins to the foam is so important, because if you add a little bit of tension by this weaving process, the pins will stay in place. So just by doing this weaving process, the strip will stay. I'm going to do this until I can no longer, or I run out of cardstock. All right. And this is why making sure that every 1/2 inch, capturing every angle is really important, so that you can manipulate the paper and it captures the shape. You can kind of pinch it later to give it more angles, and when you're down to the last bit of paper, you can either fold it around a pin just to secure it in place, and then kind of glue it there. Then you want to go around with your stylus, push that down and all sections in between to make sure that the glue is making contact with the foam foundation. Alright, before I move on, I should probably do my eye, and so I will do that. But this is how you guys will get started. I want you to do your small details with the color that you need first. eyes, teeth, if you have fire, if you have horns, get those details with your paper foundation first and then do your large details.